and Sarah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then that's P and with the headphones on.
I think she said that, yeah.
Oh, I
I
was
miss
listening.
I miss my name. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, let's start off. We have Brooklyn Knight, Big Boo in the house.
Whoop,
Welcome.
whoop.
Yes. She's a modern touch to boom bap, staying true to witty lyricism? Keeping the
Lyricism.
real bars.
Lyricism.
Lyricism. I'm so bad, so bad. Keeping the real bars in rap. In her single 38 Specials, produced by Plug and Now and later, Boo exercised her MC abilities over soulful strings and powerful drums, as well as her highlighted producer's role in her remix album To the Record, showcasing different genres and soundscapes from a variety of producers behind 38 Special. So, welcome to the board. Welcome to the scene.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
for having me.
Congratulations as a new upcoming artist.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, what you
So,
working on right now?
yes. Currently, I'm working on getting a new single out for you guys. I've been
Mhm.
Big Boo, as you guys know, as of recently, only have 38 Special out. But a lot of people don't know I was Little Boo for 7 years.
Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
I have a full discography underneath Little Boo. So this has been my major rebrand year under Big Boo. 38 Special was a big move for me. Shout out to Plug, producer Plug, and Now and Later's for producing that record for me. Um, they've been
Why
like a
did you
big
decide
help.
to switch up from Little Boo to Big Boo? Like, is it like you're saying it's a rebrand, but what made you make that decision? Are you trying to like take a different approach to music, or?
So I started doing music when I was, well, hip hop in particular, I'll say, when I was like 15. So Little Boo was like my teenage years in hip
The
hop,
younger you.
I would
Mm.
say. So like I was in a rap group called Mars Music way back when. I've released like solo projects. I have my solo EP under Lil Boo, and I think that it was just me showcasing who I was. Like, okay, this is younger me. I had fun doing it. I think Big Boo right now is just me showcasing, reflecting me as an adult, reflecting, what I
Mhm.
went through. It's a different life perspective. It's a different outlook on life. It's just me really falling into to me in my grown years.
Wow, I love it. It's like the evolution of you. So you're still embracing who you were, but now you're like, okay, now this is the next level me.
Mhm.
Yes.
And you know what I'm really interested in? So, Big Boo, I really do love your sound. And you said you started when you're 15, but you still look so young to me. Is it okay if I ask how old you are?
Yeah. I'm 22.
Yes.
I'm
So
gonna
for
be I'm gonna be
me,
23 come this upcoming year.
it's still, for me, it's still like you're still young. But what I love so much about you being so young is your sound reminds me, because, I'm from 90s. Like, I grew up on 90s music, 80s hip hop. And hearing you, it reminds me so much of that feel good sound. So I'm really interested in like who your influences were. Like, who did you really listen to when you were younger, and who do you look up to now?
Yeah, so I would say in my, like, when I was really little, my influence of music was whatever my mom and my sister was playing. So my sister listened to a whole lot of DMX, a whole lot of Wu Tang,
That's my man
old
right
school
there.
hip hop. So that's and me and my sister are like this. So that was a huge influence on, I would say, like the root of my style. But as
Hmm.
far as like the soundscapes that I like in my music, that comes from a plethora of different things. My dad used to play freestyle music for me growing up. My mom is Puerto Rican, so she had the Mark Anthony, the
Mm.
Hector Lavoe, and all of that bumping when I was in the house. So
Okay.
I have like a really, like, I would say, diverse background in music. But the main thing I was listening to was like hip hop. If I wasn't listening to hip hop, I was listening to like pop, Z100 kind of
Mm.
vibes when I was younger. But it was really just mainly hip hop.
Yeah. All great artists, but do you have anybody like currently that you look up to as well?
Oh, I don't. Anybody can scroll my page. Nas. To this day, Nas is such
Yes. Good
I
pick.
would say a legendary artist, and he's so revolutionary. You know, especially if you look at this 50th year of hip hop. Nas was dropping albums this year. You know,
Mhm.
salute. You know, so many artists did so many things this year for the hip hop 50, but I would say Nas is really one of the OGs who really stepped out. He dropped the album. He's continuing to evolve his style and stay true to himself and stay true to real MC work. So definitely Nas.
Awesome.
I like that you threw in the MC work. Do you also consider yourself an MC?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
started when I started off doing music. It was just like I was just putting up freestyle videos on Instagram. So like
Right.
just focusing in on that like bar work, staying involved in like ciphers and like really sharpening my sword before I even got into the studio. Like I didn't know how to go to the studio when I first started making music. I didn't know what that consisted of. I didn't know how to find the studio. I just kind of knew like, all right, I like this beat and I want to write to it. So when Instagram first started putting those little 30, 45-second videos out, I was just rapping. So sparring back and forth with dudes and at the lunch table, you know, going into freestyles and stuff like that. And that's really the real root of MCing is just like is being able to spar with it, like being able to just rap on the fly and things of that nature. So I definitely consider myself an MC.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so interesting that you brought up the part about starting out on Instagram, then going to the studio, because back in the day, it was start in the studio and then eventually be exposed on video and get on TV and stuff. So it's almost like it's backwards now on how you get exposed. But I'm wondering for yourself, like, did you face any, or are you currently facing any type of challenges as a female rapper and MC? Getting into the business, and how is it like what's your take on it, and what challenges do you have with that, if any?
You know, but to be honest with you, as a female MC, the biggest challenges I've really had in the past was just I would say like being heard, but I don't really come across that problem as much. You know, I'm gonna be completely transparent. I think that there's been such a big platform set for us, you know, up to this point that when you say that you're a female MC, and I don't even like categorizing like male MC, female MC. I'm just an MC, but you know, people are more inclined, you know, to want to hear what I have to say or what I would say. Like when I'm in a room full of females, like I always see that level of empowerment, you know, towards the female artists. And you know, it may be different in other people's rooms, but just for my own personal experiences, I've seen a number of platforms that have just like empowered and uplifted, you know, females in the room and making sure that, you know, they're heard and appreciated.
Hey, that's so good to hear, because y'all remember growing up, we'd always hear about the struggles with like Lil Kim and um Charlie Baltimore. Like, I know that's so random, but this is what they were all working for. To hear you kind of like attest to the way things are going now, I'm just so happy to hear that. I'm sorry, Pete. I got excited listening
No,
to her
girl,
talk.
you're
I know
fine.
you
That's
got
fine.
questions. Okay, come on, Pete. Come on in. Come on in. What you got?
I was just like hearing a lot of what you're saying and like the approach you take to hip hop now. It's considered different than what we hear more mainstream than it was. What you do in music is more what we grew up hearing in the 90s and in the early 2000s. What made you want to take that approach over what we're hearing more mainstream now?
Well, this is like a two-part answer. One, I would say what we're hearing now mainstream isn't a lot different from what we used to hear. It's just a different sound. If you look back on a lot of the female work that was going on back in the days, and you know, there was a lot of men writing for females that would make overly explicit and sexualized lyrics because that's what they wanted to hear.
Right.
So I don't think that there's a huge difference in what's being put out. I just think that there's a very big difference in the sound and
For
what's
sure.
popular as far as sound right now. You see,
Mhm.
as far as like content, it's around the same thing.
For
But what
sure.
made me
For
do
sure.
that like this, like specifically boom bap, it's one what really like stuck true to my heart. I think that a lot of boom bap and like real hip hop records are, curated around not only just like a poetic speaking style, and I really started off writing, doing poetry. Um, they're also curated around a lot of real instrumentation, and that's something that I really also hold really dear to me, which is like live instruments and things of that nature. It's also something that I really started out with when I was getting my hands wet with even figuring music out. Period. So between that, my background with just real old school boom bap hip hop from my sister, it just kind of felt natural. It was like, all right, I want to do something. I don't really have the best singing vocals. Let's keep it for a hook. And I was like really, really interested in like poetry and everything else. And it just kind of came together that way.
I'm happy your dream is coming true for you. That's
Yes.
Thank
This is
you.
amazing, especially you're like I can't get over how young you are
Yep.
and like how confident you are. Like I'm a little jealous. I love this about you. And I'm so excited about what you're talking about. So you're saying like you're working on another single, but what would you say would be your ultimate long-term goal? And what are you hoping to do impact wise, if any hope for an impact wise going forward?
No, of course. Um, so moving forward, definitely the long term goal. Girl, I love to do everything. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So that's like, I feel like I say something a little bit different every single time. But the long term goal is just to like leave a positive impact no matter what I do. I would say I think that's just my main thing. Every from I'm into clothes and I'm into music and everything else, and I just feel like people need a real creative outlet to be positive nowadays, and that's something that's really being taken away. Even from our
Mhm.
youth, we don't even see things like that in schools anymore.
Right.
So again, I think it's like a two-part answer. My long-term goal and impact, I think, is to definitely leave something positive with my creativity, but also allow a path for the next upcoming generations to be able to have a certain level of creative outlets as well. you know
Right.
Mhm.
I grew up being able to have art classes and music classes and things that were able for me to even think about having this career path. And I look at like my cousins and like my nephew, and they don't have those kind of classes in their
Right.
schools anymore. It's just like straight reading, history, get to the numbers, that's it.
Online stuff. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No creativity.
So just kind of like keep people's minds open, keep people's hearts open, and like creativity open, because that's definitely something that we're losing out on right now.
I wanted to bring back what you had said about like the instrumentation of music before and the sound difference. You talk about music classes. I feel like I understood that you kind of maybe played an instrument. Am I wrong?
Yeah, so when I was in about like middle school, I started playing piano. I had the privilege of having a really, really great teacher who wasn't even my own personal teacher in the school, who just took me in during my lunch classes. So I had like an interest in stuff, and he kind of just taught me how to play like the basics of like keyboard and guitar, and it's like really
Right.
just stay focused in on like writing and stuff. So he actually got me to learn these things to a good enough level. We was performing. He got me to perform at MoMA PS1 when I was like, I had to be like 13 years old, and I was playing the instrument. I was playing the bass up there.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
It was like a little like 3 songs like set thing, but yeah, like I was really really into playing instruments back then. When I was in high school, I played the violin for 4 years in my music class. I had an orchestra class, and I also had a music theory class I had to take for 2 years, where I had to focus on like just the actual like logistics theory of classical music, and we had a vocal training class. So
Do you think that helps you a lot when it comes to the production aspect of your music?
100%. 100%. It's like one of those things where it's like it's a muscle memory. So like even if you don't read the theories every day, it's like you're always gonna remember like a perfect fifth, like what that sounds like. Even if you can't be like, oh, that's what this is. Like, okay, I know how to get this sound, or I know what this should sound like because I already kind of trained my ear and trained myself to do these kinds of things. I think the ear training aspect of it was the biggest help, the ear training aspect, because you could just like finding intervals and being able to like to go from one note to the next. That's once you're able to do that, you could create any kind of melody. It's just about like knowing what you want to hear.
Nice.
So, in case nobody caught on to all that, we basically have a musical genius on our hands in the early years, like the early years of. So, just keep it like I say that to say you want to watch this one because for her to say all of the things she's saying and understand the things that she understands, and she's only 22. She's gonna be a legend. I'm just gonna speak it into existence. And also the fact that you said you wanted to leave a positive impact and create a pathway for creativity for others. I mean, I think you kind of just spoke your purpose in life, almost, if not exactly.
I appreciate you, love. No, you know what it is? Like I love the arts. I always have from being really, really young. And I just don't like the fact that, you know, we're being deprived of something right now. Everybody's creative. Everybody on earth is a creative. Whether you draw, whether you sing, everybody likes music.
Right.
If you don't like music, there's something wrong with you. Like we all like different types of music. There's frequencies in music, but we all like music. Music is a vessel for creativity. So if we all like music, everybody dances, everybody could do something. So it's like if we're not honing in on what we can do, how would we ever know what we could do in life? Like, period. It's not just, you know, it's not just about being creative. It's about tapping in with your inner self.
For sure. When you make a track, do you write to a beat or make a beat to what you wrote?
I do both.
Good question.
I do both because, you know, especially now, I've started producing my own tracks over this last year as well. And, you know, before I would just write to records, but, you know, now as I've like been producing, it's been opening a new creative side of me, I would say, as to where now it's like, okay, I could write something. And in my head, I already know how I want the beat to sound around it. Even if I just lay a little foundation and I send over the record to one of my producers, I'm like, yo, flex the drums on this, flex the bass on this. This is what I got. You know, it's opened up a whole new world as far as how my music is starting to sound.
That's great.
Good Lord, she's smart, y'all.
I could just sit back and watch, like just watch everything. Yes.
Can I ask any? Oh no, please, P, go ahead, because I'm gonna ask too many questions.
No, you're good. I was just gonna ask, when it comes to production, how do you know when to stop? I know that it's really hard for a lot of producers to just be like, okay, I gotta just stop tweaking it. I'm good. When do you know you're good? How do you tell yourself?
So I just kind of like take things out. Sometimes I think that like my beats are a little too empty because especially like I can't really write to something that has too much going on. I feel like I gotta fill some things in, especially with like rhythm, with my flow and things of that nature. So I don't even think it's like where to stop. I think, you know, where should I add things in and like embellish certain things, because I never want to do too much. I never want to do this. That's noise.
Right.
I don't like making noise. Right. Like I don't ever want to do too much. Like I like things that rock, bump, that sound nice. You see, I like the soulful strings and like the melodies and stuff like that. So like I don't I don't really like adding too much to my beats. I just definitely, I would say, I need to know when to sometimes add a little bit more.
Yeah, I have to tell you, so my husband, who's a huge hip hop fan, I played some of your stuff for him, and I didn't tell him who you were. I didn't say anything. I just started playing it, and he asked me, he's like, "Yo, who's that?" I said, "Oh, this is girl, Big Boo," and he said, "Is she like, where's she from?" Us, New York. He's like, "Yo, she sounds just kind of like our music that we grew up with, which is something he misses." And for him to be very impressed it says a lot because of his knowledge and in-depth understanding of hip hop and its history and all of that. So he was definitely right away like, yo, she's good. But also when you mentioned the whole we're not really labeling male MCs like that anymore. That's something hard for people in our generation to get away from because it was just so, that was how it was. Like it was always like this female MC, she better be good or she's out. Whereas male MCs could always get a pass even if they were trash. But like once a female was bad, she's never coming back on the scene. And then so in his mind to hear another female such as yourself that sounds good for him, it's a big deal. So I just wanted to let you know that.
No, I appreciate
it. Did anyone want to expand on that before I ask more questions?
Go for it, Liana. Go for it.
Well, no, I wanted to know, can we get a little personal and ask you some personal questions? Nothing too invasive, I promise.
Let's go. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, because we also like to get a little silly on this show as well. So welcome to Come As You Are.
Come As You Are, yes.
So I just was, and this is something we've all talked about amongst each other. So if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Ooh, one superpower.
Mm-hmm.
My mom wouldn't like the smart response I just came up with in my head.
Look,
what's
let
mom's
it out.
response?
So I'm gonna give you the fake one and the real one. The fake one is to read minds, so I can never ever have another conflict with my mom again. Make sure she happy. The real one, on like some real supernatural stuff, I always wanted to fly. Yes. Like I thought that I always, like from a little kid, I always wanted to fly. I thought that flying was so cool. To this day, you can't keep me off of a plane, out of a car. Like I'm always trying to go somewhere. I would like if I could physically make it to somewhere safe, supernatural powers, I would want to fly.
All right.
Yep.
Can't hear you, P.
I was saying that was one I always thought to myself as well, because you have those dreams where you fly and you're like, damn, that was unreal. What an experience. And then for me, it was always shape-shifting. I was always like, yo, I would want to be a shapeshifter.
Oh, she's shiesty, y'all.
I just want to be able to like pull up somewhere and blend in. You know what I mean?
That'd be an awesome superpower.
Yeah.
You stand out so much, Paula. You can't help it.
Oh, whatever.
No, I said the same thing. I want to fly too because I'm just trying to be over everybody. I'm over it. I like to be on my own, just kind of floating around and seeing what's going on and come back to my little nest.
Wait, hold on, because imagine somebody really getting you upset. You don't gotta walk left, right. You don't gotta walk away. You just go up.
Goodbye.
When they say when someone move low, you move high.
Mm.
I'ma move high.
Quite literally.
That's that for real. Being above. What's it called? Being the bigger person, but you're going above that. Bye.
How do you think it's changed for women in hip hop from before to now?
In what aspect?
I mean, just in general, like making your way into the music industry, being taken seriously. I think that obviously when hip hop in its fruition, it was mostly men, but there were so many female legends that came that came up during the 90s, and so many of them that we could look up to, and they spoke about everything, like you said. Some of it was sexual, some of it was in depth and whatever, but we see so much more of a mix of people in hip hop now. And I feel like there has been a shift. I'm just, in my mind, I wonder what it's like as a person trying to make it big in that world, what it's like for you.
You know what? I don't really think I'm like old enough to answer that question, you know, properly, just because from my level of hard coming into doing music was posting videos online. That's not fucking hard.
It is
don't
for
get
me.
wrong.
It's
Don't
hard
get
for
me
me.
wrong. This is such an oversaturated industry now, which
It
makes
is.
it harder to be seen over how many people that want to do it. But
Right.
trying to be seen over 1 million and you still have eyes on you versus walking around with a CD that you burned, trying to find somebody who has a connection of some sort into the industry. You have a catalog of people in your phone, in your back pocket every single day. And so it's not really, you know, male or female. I don't really feel like I'm like equipped to answer the what kind of is harder question, you know, especially I see a lot of like so much diversity in the industry now, as far as not just men and women, you know, we see the LGBTQ community breaking into the industry as well. Perfectly, you know, killing things. You know, we have like Kid Ken and you know, artists like Controverse, you know, coming into the industry, and they're killing it. You know, I think right now it's just about who's creative, who's being able to market their things better, or not even better, who's just able to market themselves. Right. You know, who's able to be the most creative, be themselves. You know, it's a way different game that we're living in, especially, you know, you're talking about an industry where females were hustling physical pieces, and now artists are just making money off of shows, unless they're pressing physical pieces and things of that nature. So it's a survival of the fittest all around.
Right, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's just a different approach to the game now, for sure.
You know, I trust and believe, when it was all physical copies, you know, it's a little bit different, but especially now where a lot of artists are just independent. You know, we're fighting to make sure that, you know, we're able to find our own revenues, our own source of revenues to bring things in, and our own crowd and fan base to come up on.
Do you have a team that helps you with your creativity on social media? Because I just think about like how people get very well known on, besides the viral video of something crazy, like they're actually being creative and doing things that catches attention, and then all of a sudden they've got all these followers. Like, do you have people that help you with that, and how do you come up with these, I don't know, ideas or figure out how to, you know, really get the people's attention?
No, of course. I absolutely do have a team, and I'm so blessed, you know, to have people that help me out and bring, you know, a lot of my ideas to life. As far as the social media stuff, you know, it is hard to still catch up and keep up with that and be creative as far as what people would like to see, and just being creative on your every day-to-day. You know, maybe I want to make a song and do this and not put out, you know, a little video or a little Instagram thing. So it always does help to have like my team there available. You know, they help me out with a lot of like my social Instagram stuff, shooting new ideas to me. Yo, boo, what do you think of this? You think this would be cool? Oh, you want to do this? Like, it's always a blessing to have like an extra creative ear around, or extra creative hand around, because it definitely gets really hard keeping up with everything yourself.
Right.
They say you have to post 3 times a day.
And that's a mental load for sure.
30 days in a month. How many posts are you pushing out in 1 month? to stay in the algorithm.
Crazy.
I've always just been of the thought of you're never gonna really know the algorithm. You're never really gonna beat the algorithm. You just gotta keep posting and just believe that the content that you're doing is enough and that it's going to the right eyes, and that's it. Like
That's
you said,
it.
there's millions upon millions of people doing the same thing and hoping for the same thing. You just gotta hope that in some way you land in front of the eyes of the right person, if that's how you hope to do it, or that what you're doing is enough and that you work and you do the work that's going to take you there, right?
100%.
Dang, that sounds stressful.
I couldn't do it.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
You find it a struggle to be able to do the music that you want to do versus because you have a team, they push another narrative for you? Or are you able to push out what you want to push out with your creative,
Oh no, my team is phenomenal. They make sure that my vision is to life. So I'm really, really blessed to be able to come in and sit down with my team and make those phone calls and shoot those text messages. Yo, well, no matter what time it is, yo, I got this idea. Da 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 da. Oh, okay,
Right.
cool. What do we gotta do? It's never like, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
If it's not in the budget, we say we try.
Right.
We never say no.
Okay, because you are so young, what do you think the age group that usually taps into your music? Do you think it's a well-versed age, or do you feel like it's more or less within your age bracket that more or less people that follow you and tap into your music?
Yo, to be honest, I just got my age group to listen to me.
Mm.
Everything, my age group was 25 to 45.
Mhm.
Ever, and it would be evenly balanced through that. And I just believe it's because of the content I was pushing out. At 15, I was rapping about shit that 15-year-olds did not want to fucking talk about. I was talking about my feelings and death, and like they're like, "Ooh, no,
Right.
let's not listen to that." Like it was like I always tapped into that older crowd, and I see myself now falling into the earlier 20s and things of that nature now that I'm, a bit older and able to tap into different things. But yeah, my age group has always been a bit older. Just like I said, I think it's just my style, the boom bap.
Yeah, maybe.
It could also be that, like in high school, a lot of people are just trying to escape those feelings, right? And now that you're in your 20s and the 20-somethings are ready to stop running away from those feelings, maybe
Right.
they're
And
ready to hear
also-
you now,
And now it's okay to express your feelings.
Right.
It's everything you telling your feelings. So it's more accepted now to hear the people's feelings. So yeah.
Word, yeah, they didn't want it. I remember I put one like trappy sounding like song out when I was in high school, and they're like, "Yo, you gotta put more songs out like that. That shit is tough." And I'm like, "Yo, I fucking hate this song." I don't even think I got the music video out for that joint no more. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, stay true to yourself. But yeah, you could throw in a little trap here and there once in a blue moon. It can be fun, but I say it's more conscious music that you do, which is great to hear. And it sounds like it sounds more modernized, like it's refreshing. It's like, dang, it's like we're picking up from where like we left off, I actually like all the newer stuff too, but there's always that affinity to what you grew up with. And so to hear it again coming from someone young, but putting kind of a fresh take on it, like it kind of makes me feel a little young again and proud also. And I know you said we don't put labels like that, and I get that, but again, it's hard for us to get out of that mindset just because it's how it's been for so long. But seeing a female who's young doing it is just something that gives me a little pride. So I'm very proud of you.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
For sure.
Listen, I just don't like to use it in the sense of like a segregation, but it's all due respect. it's empowering, you know, to see other females doing big things. You know, I'll come up to a female and be like, you know, as a female scientist, like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, for
Like,
sure, for sure.
It's like we use that as like an empowerment.
Right. Absolutely.
Right, but ultimately it does separate you to add that title where you're like, I'm just an MC. I happen to be a female who's an MC, but I'm an MC.
Mhm.
I think that they even said, I can't remember if some, like when it refers to actors and actresses, I think people have stopped saying actress as
Yeah, they just
often.
said actor.
They just say
Mhm.
actors when it's, whether it's a man or a woman.
Mhm.
And I think that's great. I think that if anything, hip hop needs more of that, because we do have a lot of separation when it comes to the men and the women in the music industry. And there's still a little bit of that expectation of women in a certain way. But I think now more than ever, it's an even playing field. And I think that not for nothing, and I know we've been doing a lot of bigging you up, but I mean, it's just what it is. Like, this is your moment to just like stand out from the crowd, and it is a little bit different than what we're used to hearing on radio right now. But that doesn't mean it's not what it will be. And it was once what we heard on radio all the time, a lot of the time, although we did still have some of that raunchy hip hop that we all kind of loved and partied to and everything like that. And it's always a good time. But you know, we all I grew up on listening to Eminem was my first introduction to hip hop. I was like a Backstreet Boys, like NSYNC girl, like until I came across Eminem, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I leaned into everything else, and that was like emotional hip hop. Then Eminem was one of the people that kind of spoke on his emotions a lot. And I feel like we're starting to see young rappers like yourself and MCs like yourself starting to speak a little bit more on their emotions again. And I think it's amazing because everybody experiences them of every age group. So I think you're going to kill it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, she's already killing it.
All right. What?
Any other questions, lady?
Me. That's it.
That's all
That's
you
it.
can be. That's all you can be. You're doing an amazing job, so keep it up.
All right. So what's next for you, Big Boo? What's next?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
What's next? Definitely some new music. I got a TV show with Producer Plug that's gonna be coming out in this upcoming year, 2024, called The Breakbeat, starring myself, Producer Plug, and rest in peace, the legendary 45 King. We did a private screening for that a few weeks ago. But pretty much the show is about, you know, breaking me as an artist, working with me, Producer Plug working with, you know, other artists, and just new ways of putting out music. But the first episode we're going to be releasing early on next year, you know, with, again, me, myself, and 45 King, and a record that me and him worked on together. But other than that, a bunch of new music, new shows, and a bunch of new stuff from Big Boo.
Where we gonna be able to catch this show at?
The show with we're gonna be announcing that in the top of the year.
Okay.
All the details.
And
the opportunity to tap in to see how you work, give your fans and your followers an opportunity to just see who you are as a person.
Pardon?
What are your platforms? Is that what you asked, Sarah? You broke it.
Yeah, y'all can follow me on Instagram at Big Boo BK BIGBOOBK. TikTok is the same thing. I'll be posting my snippets up there. I'll be going live doing my thing. So make sure you tap in with me. Definitely tap into my lives. I'll be up there freestyling, making beats,
Okay.
having fun.
I love it. I love it.
Big Boo.
Okay. All right, girl. Well, we appreciate you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And yeah,
Thank you. Shout out to the wonderful Jimmy Age.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
He's Jimmy Age. Shout out Jimmy Age. He got one of the most played remixes for the remix he did to my single 38 Special. Jimmy is a phenomenal producer. And one of the producers I've been working with as well. So big shout out Jimmy Age.
Yeah, he's gonna be glad he got that shout out. We know we're gonna hear from him pretty soon. When he posts. Hey, Jimmy.
All right. All right. Again, thanks so much for taking the time to chat
Yeah.
with us today. And, you know, we love getting to know you, and we're excited to see what's next for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you
Have a
so
Merry
much.
Christmas and a Happy
Thank you,
New
ladies.
Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good night.
And thank y'all for joining Come As You Are. We're excited and glad that everyone's still sticking with us.
Have a good night.